Hi and welcome to another video. This is David from Yantel, and today I want to talk about spam folders and how to avoid them, how to make sure if you send cold emails they go directly to the inbox, and basically how to really create high quality cold email campaigns that will be not flagged by email service providers. If you send cold emails and they end in the spam folder, I think it is one of the most frustrating things, mostly because you probably invested a lot of time, energy, money, resources, and all these different things to put together a really great campaign. And if it ends in the spam folder, all the previous effort you made is going to be wasted. There's absolutely no return on your investment. And I think optimizing your emails so they don't end up in a spam folder is one of the most important things you can do if you want to be successful in cold email campaigns. But let's talk about people who are just starting with cold emails and they want to make sure they will not end up in this pretty bad situation, and how they can do proactive measures to make sure that the emails they send will not end in the spam folder. So point number one, you want to prepare and warm up your new domain and your email address. So I made an entire video on how to do this. It is almost 20 minutes long and I will link it in the description. But shortly, you want to make sure your domain is authenticated, it's warmed up, and also that it displays all the signs of our actual normal domain, not just set up for cold emailing.
If you're interested in improving your cold emails, we have a free resource called the 20-60-20 Rule of Copywriting. It is the exact process that gets us between 20 to 40% reply rates on our cold email campaigns. You can now access the same methodology that we successfully applied in more than 120 done-for-you client projects in SaaS companies, in manufacturing companies, agencies, but also with consultants in the IT space, finance, or marketing. If you're a B2B business, this is for you. It includes the most important copywriting principles that consistently generate new leads, with real examples, but also templates that you can start using right away. So if you're interested in attracting and closing more projects with cold emails in your business, download our resource. It's completely free. Simply go to the description box below and click on the first link to get it right now.
In terms of authentication, there's some technical stuff that you have to do in your DNS settings. As I said, I will link to it. In terms of warm up, you want to create a traffic of emails going in and out of your mailbox, and there are several tools that can do this. For example, Lemlist has the warm up tool where simply you put your email and it will automatically generate traffic between people in the network. And lastly, you want to make sure everything's set up correctly. I think the best place where to set up your email is using G Suite. So make sure you fill out all the information like your name, company name, address, phone number. So basically it is an actual full-fledged profile. The second way how to avoid landing in a spam folder is simply not being flagged as spam by your readers. So this sounds pretty obvious and quite logical, but actually a lot of people create emails that are really enticing people to simply click spam. So how to write emails that are not going to be like this? Firstly, I think you should be reaching out only to people that are relevant, and this can be in two ways. So firstly, if your product and service is really aligned to their business and their needs, then of course this will be relevant. Secondly, you can also send emails to people who in the past subscribed to your newsletter or something like that. So these will be not necessarily newsletter emails, but you are trying to pitch people who already made some sort of contact to you. Next, you can be even more relevant by not just showing them that your service is aligned to their business or the industry, but you can actually provide even more information about their company in your sales email copy. So this requires some time and some investment. If you want to hire someone or you do it yourself, you need to invest that time to make sure that you show them in your email that you know their situation and you can help them to solve their problems. So again, if someone receives an email like this, it creates quite a different impression if you're just blasting people with something completely irrelevant. And lastly, I suggest you also include the unsubscribe button, but this applies really to companies or to people in specific situations. So number one, if you are new to cold emails and you are probably unlikely very good at writing the copy, you want to give them the option to click unsubscribe instead of just flagging you as spam or blocking you. So this will create a good option for people if they're not interested to simply do it this way instead of telling maybe their Gmail or some other service provider that this person is completely irrelevant and I don't want to hear from them again. The second scenario where I see your unsubscribe button to be used in a good way is if you are sending emails which basically don't follow the advice I gave before. and the list is not targeted, you don't do enough research, or maybe you do, but you're not sure if your service will be interesting. Maybe you're testing a new approach or a new service or product. So in this case, if you're not sure, I would also suggest to include the unsubscribe button. So if people are not interested, they can simply unsubscribe instead of being pretty much forced to indicate that what you're sending is a spam because it's not relevant. And the last way how you can avoid going to spam is simply through not giving any unusual signals to the email service providers. So some unusual signals can be maybe you're sending 1 email per day and then you go to 300 or 500 per week or 100 per day. These unusual spikes will be indicators that something is going on and the email service providers are going to flag you as spam. So one way to avoid it is that you can ramp up your sending volume. And again, there are many tools, many cold email tools that basically are integrated with this kind of a warm-up feature where you don't have to go from 0 to 10 and do it manually, but simply, every day it will send maybe 1 or 2 more emails until you ramp up to decent numbers, and then you are able to increase the numbers more radically. So you can maybe send from 50 to 75, 100 and so on. But the first steps are very important. You want to really gradually build up numbers, and also this is going to allow you to see the responses of people. If you see that you send a couple of emails per day over maybe a week and you have no responses, of course then it gives you a good opportunity to adjust your approach, and you will not burn through leads, and also you will not give such a negative impression to the email service providers that maybe you send 1,000 emails but no one responds and maybe 15 people flag you as spam. So it is very important for many reasons to gradually ramp up the numbers to not flag your account in any negative way, whether that is just unusual activity or because of a big spike on negative responses. And lastly, we have a bonus. I'm sure if you search this topic on Google or YouTube or different places, you probably came across a number of lists of forbidden words that the email service providers will basically, they will automatically send you spam if you include these words. Now, it is true that some words are probably more negative than other words, but I came across some lists with like 200-300 words, and I think a lot of it is really not true. There are some words you should really avoid, some obvious ones like using a lot of free stuff, like get this for free, buy this, and pretty much anything using like financial terms related to banking, because these words are often linked to scams. So if you write a really good high quality email and you include some words I found on these lists like no obligation, things like this, I really don't think it is going to trigger the spam filters and you'll end up in the spam folder. So I think the bottom line is that if you avoid the most obvious words like bankruptcy, credit cards, bank account, loan, and things like this, which are like notoriously linked to fraud, then you should be fine. If you include some of the other words that you probably find on these lists, like free and no obligation, I think that should be fine. As I said, we send a lot of cold emails, and when we use this, these kind of words in a context of a well-researched and relevant email, we didn't see any increase in spam folders or any negative impact on the cold email. But again, don't take this as a fact. Go out and test it yourself on a small sample size, adjust your course based on that. So that's all for today. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please subscribe so you are notified of more videos like this in the future. And also, if you're interested in more cold email advice, we have a resource. It's completely free and it is called the 20-60-20 Rule of Copywriting. And it is basically the exact system we use to get between 20 to 40% reply rates on our cold email campaigns. So if that sounds interesting, the link is in the description. Just click on it and you'll be able to get it completely for free. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.